What's up guys, my name is Joe and welcome to Budget Breakdown episode 5. It's the show where we take a look at popular hair care brands and see for the money, are they good, kind of good, or not so good. We've got a playlist with previous episodes of Budget Breakdown featuring like Gatsby, VO5, a couple others. If you've missed any of them, is right up here. And of course, if you're into the content, go ahead and hit that like button, click that subscribe button, let's get into it. So this week we're focusing on Hanz De Fuko, and it's no secret that HDF and I have had a bit of a rocky relationship. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can check out the Hanz De Fuko Fire Shots video that I made a couple months ago. But what I'm getting at is I'm not gonna let any personal issues get in the way of this video. I'm taking a look at the brand and the products that they have and giving you guys my opinion as usual. I've got 4 Hanz De Fuko products to go through, so let's go ahead and get started. So first, a bit about the brand. As far as I can tell, HDF really started to take off around the time that I started my YouTube channel back in 2013. At that time, Hanz De Fuko was the biggest men's hair care brand on YouTube, alongside By Villain from Slick Hair TV, and there's just tons of YouTubers who talked about them, and generally they built up a strong presence on YouTube. I remember being drawn to what Hanz De Fuko represented, which was individuality and making the most of what you have. Being the best version of yourself, basically, which is something that I strongly value. On their About Us page, they claim to have a passion for creative individualism, self-expression, and self-care. I remember back in the day looking at Hanz De Fuko and thinking, you know what? I think this is a cool brand. Sure, at the core, they sell hair products, but if you go beyond surface level, I really connected with what they stood for as a company. And I think it's this kind of messaging that a lot of us guys can relate to that did help the brand to succeed. Now, getting more specific with the products, each product costs $19.50 and you'll be getting 2 ounces of product. Remember, Budget Breakdown isn't just about finding the cheapest products, but rather comparing the cost to the performance. Each jar comes in frosted plastic jars with simple metal tops. There's no coloring on the packaging, and any color that you see comes from the product inside the jar. Very simple branding, but it looks good. You know, it just looks clean. I've got a couple jars here that have like their old font logo on it, and then this is the more updated one, just a bit, you know, even cleaner still. But with that said, let's get into the product. Starting out, of course, with Claymation. Claymation was the very first product that I used on this channel, and in fact, it was the very first video that I ever uploaded to this channel. That was about 4 years ago, and you know, it's been a solid product. It's held up well. It claims to be a super high hold and a matte finish, and I don't want to spend too much time because I've talked about Claymation quite a bit, but just to give it to you straight, Claymation is best for thick, coarse, or unruly hair. Basically, hair that requires a heavy product to provide that dense hold. Breaking it down and applying is pretty thick, but it is expected. If you have thicker hair, you shouldn't struggle too much with this, but if your hair is on the more thinner side, it's probably not the product for you. The result, good stuff for thick hair. It's a traditional clay, so it falls in the same category as like Cavalier clay, for example. It's a simple product, but for thick hair, to me, it does the trick. Next up, we've got Hybridized Wax, which is kind of it's an interesting product, to say the least. It claims to be a medium hold with a satin shine. Now, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I'm going to guess glossy. It's a bit of a glossy shine. Now, I'm not sure exactly what this product is intended for, because to me, this doesn't have enough hold to be used on its own. And if you use too much, your hair is going to turn greasy real quick. It has an odd texture to it. Like, you know, it's easy to scoop out, but it can't be described as creamy. It's more like kind of an elastic feeling. Breaking down and applying though, super easy. So I'm applying this on top of Cavalier because the only way that I get a real life use out of this product is if I'm wanting to apply a bit more of a healthy shine to my finished style. If you do have really dry hair or you simply want to add a bit of shine, you can coat your finished style with just a tiny bit of this stuff to achieve those results. But really, personally, I wouldn't be reaching for hybridized wax all that often. Moving on, we've got Quicksand, which claims to be a high hold, dry matte finish product. Dry matte. Dry. Now, Quicksand is definitely one of the most unique products that I've ever used. It's a fairly polarizing product. People seem to either really like it or really don't like it. And personally, I don't really like this product as a finisher. It's not a finishing product in my opinion, but there's still some ways to get some great results out of this stuff. Now, it says it has a dry matte finish, and this is definitely true. It's a very dry product. But it's interesting because scooping it out, it's very creamy and kind of wet feeling. It's a smooth breakdown, but it has a bit of a gritty, sandy feeling at at the same time, and after emulsifying, it leaves your hands fairly shiny. And that's just interesting because it's definitely not a shiny product at all. For me, this is an awesome second day pre-styler, and that's about the only use that I have for Quicksand for my hair type. For example, I'm applying it to damp hair after I've rinsed out Claymation and the Hybridized Wax, so really I should be left with a greasy buildup. But after blow drying, my hair feels like it has zero buildup and zero shine whatsoever, and that's all down to Quicksand absorbing out that oil and leaving it feeling really matte and dry. I think to best describe Quicksand, it's like a cross between a dry shampoo and a sea salt spray. And finally, we've got Modified Pomade, which claims to be a medium hold and have a high shine. Modified Pomade was the first pomade I tried that could be considered an unorthodox water-based pomade, meaning that it isn't oil-based, but it also doesn't harden up at all like a typical gel pomade would. It has an interesting orangey color and a light peachy smell. Also, when you break it down, it turns to a solid white color, which to me is just kind of a cool reaction. Applying is pretty easy and smooth. It might be, a bit more tuggy than some, but not bad at all for a pomade. And the result, I do get a good amount of shine, and it stays restylable, so it doesn't harden up. Now, my current hair's length isn't the best to demonstrate a slick hairstyle, but I'm just trying my best with what I've got. However, I remember when I've used this stuff quite a long time ago when I had longer hair, and the hold was pretty good for like the first hour before it started to become kind of soft feeling and giving way. That hold started lessening a bit. I remember still enjoying this product for a more loose look, but it definitely doesn't hold up to the standards of unorthodox water-based pomades that we've seen today. So if you're looking for something to keep your hair back but have a more relaxed look, this could work. But if you want a clean, classic, crisp hairstyle, I don't think this stuff will last you all day. So to conclude, is Hanz De Fuko good, kind of good, or not so good? Good. Yeah, I'd say pretty good. It's bordering somewhere between good and kind of good. It's better than kind of good. I don't know if it's the best as good can be. Does that make sense? But the Hanz De Fuko range of products have held up really well over the past couple of years. They've got some really unique formulas like that Modified Pomade, like Quicksand, that helps to add to that overall character of the brand, and some classics, some essentials such as Claymation, which before having Cavalier Clay was a staple product in my collection. Now, obviously, I'm not a big fan of the whole bashing YouTuber streak that they had a couple months ago, but that aside, they've got some pretty good stuff. With that said, guys, this concludes Budget Breakdown Episode 5. Thumbs up button if you enjoyed, subscribe button if you want to see more, and I'll be seeing everybody next time.